Alright, how's it going everybody? So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can create a nice little dumpster, because if you're anything like me, you need a lot more room to throw away all those trash models. This is intended to be a multiple part series. Hopefully by the end we'll have something a little like this, but hopefully a little bit better. We're going to take the time to put in a little bit more detail and do better than I did. So let's get started. Okay, so we're going to start with a fresh project. We're going to hit A to select everything, X to delete, Shift A, bring in a cube, 1 on the number pad to go into front orthographic view. We're going to hit G, then Z, drag it up on the Z. Whoops. Hit S to scale on the X and bring it out somewhere about there. Nice width. Alright. And we're going to tab into edit mode, grab this top face, delete it, go into the front. We're going to hit Ctrl R to add in a loop cut, left click, and drag it up to right about there. Then we're going to grab these 4 faces, hit 7 on the number pad to go into top orthographic. We're going to hit E to extrude, S to scale on the X, and we're going to type 1.02, hit enter. Then again, scale on the Y, 1.04, hit enter. That seems to give a nice squared all the way around little lip there. Looking pretty good. Then we're going to tab back into object mode, Shift A, bring in a cube, bring it over on the X, bring it up on the Z, and we're going to scale on the X 0.005. Nice little thin slab there. Hit 3 on the number pad to go into right orthographic, and we're going to scale on the Y 0.05. And go back into front orthographic, and we can slide this over. We're going to want to butt this up right up against this thing. Go into wireframe view here. That way we can, yeah, nice and flush. Perfect. Looking good. Okay. Now, grab along the Y. Move this up, and again, just make sure it's nice and flush with this edge here. I'm going to tab into edit mode, grab this top face, and just bring it down somewhere in here. Helps to go into wireframe, make sure it's nice and flush with the bottom of that lip there. Go back into solid view. Or excuse me, solid view, but stay in edit mode. I don't know why I tabbed out. 3 on the number pad to go into right orthographic. We're going to E to extrude on the Y, bring it out to a 0.01, just this tiny little nudge here. Then we're going to grab this inside face, 1 on the number pad to go into front orthographic view. We can zoom out a little bit here. E to extrude on the X, and we're going to bring this one over a 0.1, and there we go. Nice. Okay. Now what we're going to do is, before we duplicate this over, we're going to get rid of some of these faces here. It's not entirely necessary. If no one's ever going to see the inside of the dumpster, you can keep this, but also, less polygons, I guess. Always helps. So let's go ahead and delete these top faces as well as these inside faces here. Before you commit to deleting, you can go back in a solid view and make sure you haven't grabbed any of the outside faces that you intend to be visible. Then you can hit X, delete faces, get rid of that. Alright. Now, we can hit 3 on the number pad to go into right orthographic view. Come up to this little doodad up here, click this, and set it to 3D cursor. Then we can hit Shift D to duplicate, and just type S to scale, X on the X-axis, excuse me, I did that wrong, Y on the Y-axis, then -1. Hit enter. And that will not just duplicate it, but also mirror it over opposite of the 3D cursor right on the other side. Nice little user-friendly method there. Seems a little weird at first, hard to kind of commit to memory. It seems awkward that you would scale, but that's just how it is. So now with that done, we're going to grab both of these. Whoops, not the body. We're going to grab both of these little corner pieces. Hit Ctrl J to join. Now we're going to tab into edit mode, 3 on the number pad to go into right orthographic. We're going to come over here, Ctrl R, left click to insert a loop cut, and we're going to bring it down about there. Do the same thing for the other side, and bring it down to right about there. And what we're going to do is grab this face here, and extrude along the Y, all the way, not all the way, but right about there. Then with that face still selected, we'll grab this face, hit X, delete faces. Yeah, it looks like we have another. There, we can go ahead and get rid of that now. Select that face and delete that. We don't want that. So push 1 to go into vertice select, and we can grab this vertice, not that vertice, this vertice, and this vertice. And we can hit M for merge and select at last. You can also select the vertice over here, then the vertice over here, hit M for merge, and then select at first. However you choose to do it, that's up to you. Just as long as you remember which one you grabbed in which order. I always prefer to stick to doing it at last, so I'll select this one, then I select this one, and at last. There we go. Nice and easy. So now with that all done, we can hit 1 on the number pad to go into front orthographic view. We're going to Shift D, scale on the X, -1, and it's going to duplicate that whole thing and mirror it to the other side. Again, we'll grab both of these, Ctrl J to join, tab into edit mode, and go into face select. Grab this face here. Save us some legwork. We'll scroll back over here, holding Shift. Grab that face. And we can E to extrude along the X, bring it almost all the way home, right about there. And with this face still selected, we'll grab this face, as well as the other face on the back side here, and just delete those faces. While we're at it, again, we can grab this face here, circle back to the front, grab this inside face, and delete that. Push 1 to go into vertice select, grab this one, and this one, and just rinse and repeat. Oh gosh, I can't speak. Rinse and repeat. Just merging all these vertices. Whoops. Hope I didn't mess something up there. Push on the wrong keys. Alright, there we go. That's all nice and done. Perfect. Beautiful. Okay. Now, once again, back in object mode, we can Shift A, bring in another cube, bring it over on the X, bring it up on the Z. And we're just going to... Oh, excuse me. Do not forget. I'm always forgetting this. Do not forget to set this little sucker up here back to median point. We're going to scale this down to something like that. 0.2 seems good. Tab into edit mode. We're going to grab this face here and this face here, holding Shift. Then we're going to double tap I. So I, then I again, and we'll just type 0.1. Hit enter. There we go. Then we can hit X and delete those faces. Go into vertice select. We'll grab these 4 vertices here. Hit F to fill. And grab these top 4 inside vertices. Hit F to fill. And the same over here on this right side. Fill. Then back in face select, we can grab these 3 faces and just delete them. Then back in vertice select, we can hold Alt and left click just anywhere along this edge loop here, and it'll select the whole thing. We can hit F to fill, then type S to scale, X 0, hit enter, and that'll flush it up nice and flat. And then we just do the same thing down here. Hold Alt, left click, F to fill, scale along the X, 0, enter. Perfect. Tab back into object mode and front orthographic. We can grab this, move it along the X, and bring it in over here. Obviously, it's a little big, but we can scale on the X, bring it in. This part's all up to you, however you feel that this ought to look for a dumpster. I think something in this realm looks decent. we're going to go into wireframe and make sure that we're not flush with this, because that's going to be, that would be this lip here, the outside lip of this edge, and that would just mean that it's floating off of the body of the dumpster. So, go into wireframe, and we're going to want to flush it up with this inside edge here. So grab along the X and just slide it in until it's about, you can even overlap some if you want, but just bring it in like that. Should be fine. All just depends on, what you're going to use this for. And scale on Y. Bring it out to about, something like that. Seems good. Okay. Now, still in object mode, let's Shift A, bring in yet another cube. These things are versatile. They'll do anything. Bring it over here. Bring it up. And we're going to scale this one way down. That seems about good. Push 3 on the number pad to go into right orthographic. We're going to continue to scale along the Y, and I believe what we're going to want to do is a 0.05. Yeah, seems pretty good. Nice little thin slab. We could probably even go thinner than that, but for all intents and purposes, right now, that's going to be good. So we'll tab into edit mode, hit 2 for edge select. We're going to want to select this little top corner edge right here. Then hit Ctrl B for bevel, and just pull the mouse away from the cube until it becomes this nice little triangle. Then tab back into object mode, select that, and we're just going to move it into position. Right up in here somewhere. Yeah, look at that. That worked out perfect. Okay, back into solid. Come over here, we can move it along the Y. Something like that seems pretty good. Can even, even bring it in like, a little bit more. Who cares? Okay. Now again, we're going to come up here to this little doodad, and we're going to bring it back to 3D cursor. And right orthographic, we'll hit Shift D to duplicate, scale along the Y, -1, hit enter, and there we have it. Then we're going to select both of, whoa, not the dumpster. We're going to select both of these little triangles, Ctrl J to join. And then again, or we should probably just go into front view, because this is where it gets a little finicky. We could move the cursor around the 3D cursor, but we're not going to deal with all that. Which, I guess I should point out, if you hit Shift or hold Shift and right click, that's how you move this little, you can even hold right click and just drag it around. And I've had it happen several times where I've accidentally moved it and then I start to panic. You can just hold Shift, type C, and it'll center it right back to its beginnings, its origin. Right, before we actually continue any further, it looks like we got a little bit of an overhang here. We don't want that, so let's actually bring this back to medium point so we can scale along the X to bring that in and just flush it back up with this. Somewhere right in here should be good. Back to solid. Go to 3D cursor. Alright, so we'll Shift D, scale on the Z, -1, and you see it brings them way down here, but that's alright. We can just G on the Z and bring them right back up. Double check in wireframe, make sure everything's nice and flush. Definitely is. Checks out, looking good. So we'll grab all of these, Ctrl J to join, and we can actually go into edit mode real quick here. In fact, actually, we can just grab all of this, tab into edit mode. With face select, let's go into wireframe, and we will grab all of these inside faces again. No need for them to be there. We're just gonna delete them. Let's get rid of those faces. Alright. So now we can grab all four of grab the little triangles, select those, and this little square slot thing, and we will Shift D to duplicate, scale on the X, -1, hit enter, and voila, it's over there on the other side. Perfect. Now what we're gonna do is manually, let's make sure though before we do this, switch this back over to median point real quick, and we're going to, with both of these selected, Shift D to duplicate, R to rotate, and we're going to rotate it 90 degrees. Looking good. And we're going to bring it down right about here, bring it in on the X, whatever seems good. Something like that. I want a wireframe, and we'll just flush up those edges. Looking good. All right. And again, we can come up here, go back to 3D cursor, Shift D, scale on the X, -1, bring it over there. Perfect. Okay, so a couple final things that we can do here is we'll take the body of the dumpster here, tab into edit mode, push 3 on the number pad to go into right orthographic wireframe. And with face select, we're just going to grab this little face right up here. We're going to scroll out a little bit so we can see better. Hit G and bring it down on the Z axis. And, you know, you can do this or not. I've seen dumpsters that don't have the incline. Some barely have one. You know, you can bring it down like this. I think I'm going to bring it down about this far, right about there. That's pretty good. Then we're going to grab this our little side slats here, because now we got to make some adjustments to this. Still in wireframe, excuse me. We're going to go into vertice select since we deleted the faces off the top of this. We'll just hold left click and box drag this little selection tool here. And then hit G, Z, bring it down on the Z. And pretty much we're just looking to line up these two vertices with this line here. Then we're going to box select over here and just kind of line that back up with this edge. That looks good. And we have to make some slight adjustments up here because now this is out of sync, all out of whack. So we'll just grab these, bring it down, line that one up, grab this one. And again, you can even just ignore this altogether. It just depends on whether or not, you know, how particular you are about it, whether or not you even think anyone's gonna see the inside of this. It don't matter, it can be overlapped. But I'm gonna fix it for the sake of it. Oops. Oh, I should probably make sure we're in median point. Okay, that looks pretty good. Awesome. Got a little once over. Yeah, looks pretty good. Okay, so we're going to select the body of the dumpster here again, tab into edit mode, 1 on the number pad to go into front orthographic, and we're going to hit Ctrl R, and we're going to add in a few loop cuts right here. We're going to want to do about 4 of them. That's pretty good. That's going to be a confusing, you know, because we've got the slant in there. It's going to look a little funny, but that's okay. Alright, so everything's pretty good. We're just going to want to move the top and the bottom one. So hold Alt and left click that edge, and it's going to select all the way around. You can even kind of mouse around and make sure that it is. And with that selected, we can double tap G, so G, G, and that's going to activate Edge Slide. We're just going to want to bring that up to like right about there. Do the same thing for the one up here. Hold Alt, left click, GG, and bring that down right about there. Now we'll face select, and we're going to grab this face here. And we're going to hit E to extrude, scale along the X, and we'll do about 0.92. Seems pretty good. Or just that general distance there. Same thing here, E to extrude, S on the X, and 0.92. Looking pretty good. Now we're going to grab this top one again. We'll scale on the Y. Oops, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Scale on the Z, and we'll bring that down right about there. Do the same thing for this bottom one. Scale on the Z. Keep clicking all the wrong keys. Looking pretty good. Alright, now we're going to grab these two inside faces, the innermost faces. Grab both of those, and then we're going to hit G, on the Y, and we can take it back like whoops, 0.01, or you can go 0.02. The depth here is all up to you, however you think that looks good. So there we go, though. Alright, so that's going to be a wrap for this one. I really hope you enjoyed. I hope it helps. I hope, you know, that it was informational, educational in some way or another. Definitely look forward to the next one, where we will probably move forward with going ahead and texturing the body of this dumpster before we then move on to modeling the lid and wheels and, you know, just polishing up any other finishing details, just kind of getting it looking dumpy. But anyway, appreciate it. Thank you so much.